Hey guys, this is a Final Fantasy XIV video. In this video, we're going to be talking about ARR Relics, or Realm Reborn Relics, how to get them, tips and tricks, and just general things that I wish I knew before I started crafting these annoying sons of bitches. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get whatever class you're working on for the Relic. You want to get it to at least level 71. Once you get the class to level 71, it'll give you a fat 300% damage boost, which will help you clear dungeons a lot faster. You can pretty much just murder bosses with that 300% damage boost, and you should be able to solo pretty much all the dungeons. There's a couple that you can't solo, but it'll make your whole process of making the relic way faster. Number 2 is start saving up money. You want about 1,000,000 gil. It should cost you somewhere around there. You could probably get away with maybe 800,000, 900,000 gil, but you want to start saving up, because there are parts where you're going to have to buy certain things from vendors and stuff. There's one part where you have to buy some stuff from a vendor for like 400k, and then there's some, like, you have to buy some rare stuff afterwards that costs like around 200 or 300, and then you'll have to buy a bunch of materia too, so it ends up being like around 900 to 1,000,000. So just save up 1,000,000 gil, just so that way you got it ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about money. You can just buy the stuff when it comes up during the process. Okay, number 3, this is something you can do ahead of time before you actually start. You're going to need 4 of these bombard cores, which each one of them is 20k seals for whichever faction you're with, whichever grand company you're with. You're going to need 4 of these, like I said, so it's going to be a total of 80k of your faction seals. So make sure you buy these ahead of time. A lot of times you'll have like maxed out faction seals and you don't know what to spend your seals on. Just buy the 4 bombard cores ahead of time from your faction vendor. You're gonna need them. And then also another thing you can buy ahead of time, you can come over here to Mor Dhona and go to Auriana, and you can buy this sacred spring water. This is another thing you're gonna need 4 of these. It totals out to 800 of the Allegan tomestones, so make sure you just buy that ahead of time. Okay, we're skipping the first 2 parts of the relic. We're gonna talk about the ATMA step. The first 2 parts of the relic are super easy. You should be able to do them like within an hour or 2, something like that. There's not really much to talk about there. On the ATMA step, which is the 3rd step of the relic, you can save these atmas that you get. You have to farm a bunch of fates to get these atmas for your relic. You can actually save these in case you get extra ones. Sometimes you'll get extra ones if you're playing with friends or something like that. That's what happened to me. So you can actually save these for other relics. Another general tip too for the ATMA step, this is just a personal preference thing. Try switching zones like maybe every 3 to 4 events. Sometimes you get really lucky with the atmas, you'll get them the first time. Other times you might do 10 or 20 events and you don't get shit. So like, just to preserve your sanity, just switch zones like every 3 to 4 events. If the ATMA doesn't drop within 3 or 4 events, just switch zones, dude. At least it helped for me to preserve my sanity rather than being stuck in the same fucking zone trying to do events. Okay, number 5. This is tips for Animus. This is the next one after the ATMA phase of your relic. Animus is the worst part, in my opinion, of the whole relic process. It's a pain in the ass. You have to do 9 of these books where you have to kill a ton of monsters, do a bunch of dungeons, do fates. This is the worst part, is the fates. And then do these leves also. You gotta do this 9 times for each weapon. It is a pain in the ass, in my opinion. Like I said, this is the worst fucking part of doing the relics. This part took me the longest. Something you need to note with the relics, they are these books that you're working on for the Animus phase. They are considered a quest item, so you can only have 1 of these in your inventory at a time. So you really can't work on 2 separate relics at a time. You need to just focus on 1. And it's shitty because if you're doing this with friends, just keep in mind you both have to be on the same book. And if you don't finish the book, you actually, like if you don't finish the book and then you switch to another book, it will delete all your progress on the previous book. And it also costs 100 Allegan tomestones. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like, to do this whole process. Also, like if you want to switch relics and work on a different relic, you will have to exchange the book that you have and get the other book for the new relic. So make sure that you've actually finished the whole book before you switch it out, because like I said, you can only have 1 of these at a time, and it does not save your progress if you switch books. So you want to finish the entire book before you switch to a new one or you switch to a different relic. Number 6, again during the Animus phase, I would say use this website. This is the console games wiki for Final Fantasy XIV. They have a really good, excellent guide for the relics. It will tell you pretty much everything you need to know, including little side things for the relics about the fates, dungeons, things like that. A lot of the tips that I'm going to say in here It's shit that they tell you to do in the wiki too. So yeah, please use the wiki, especially for this Animus phase, because they will actually even show you where all the monsters are, the location, the coordinates, all that stuff. Really fucking helpful. They even talk about the fates if you need to do a prerequisite fate in order to get the fate that you need for your book. Okay, number 7, we're still on Animus. Talking about the dungeons, they suggest, like on the wiki for example, like, oh yeah, use your higher level weapon, like when you're clearing the dungeon, and then before you kill the boss for the dungeon that you're in, you can switch back to the relic weapon, because you need the relic weapon equipped in order to get credit for all of these things on this Animus book step. I would suggest don't even fucking do that. I did that like 3 or 4 times, and I forgot every single one of those times that I did that. I forgot to equip my relic weapon again, and I did not get progress for the book. So please do not fucking switch out your relic weapon. Just keep it on when you go into the dungeon. Don't even bother trying to clear faster. Because if you are forgetful like me, you're gonna forget to put it on before you kill the last boss, and you're just wasting your fucking time. Okay, number 8, we're still talking about dungeons in the Animus phase. In case you don't know, you can do dungeons unsynced. You can come up here to your duty finder settings, click on unrestricted party, you click confirm, and now you can actually do dungeons when you're level 72 or whatever, and it's a level 50 dungeon, and that's how you get the damage boost so you can clear dungeons really fast. And then also, in case you don't know, you're gonna need to do the Lost City of Amdapor, and then also the Stone Vigil on hard. These are 2 dungeons. You cannot solo these dungeons. Lost City of Amdapor has a fucking evil ass troll boss in the beginning, the first boss. This motherfucker will eat you, and then you're fucking dead, and you need somebody else with you in order to kill him. He'll spit you out like a pile of bones, just like fucking Beastmaster. So make sure you bring a friend so that you can actually kill his ass. And then the other one is Stone Vigil. Stone Vigil, you actually will need 4 people in order to do this second boss, I believe. You have to get on these turrets and shoot the boss. So you will need at least like 3 people with you. So you could just use Dungeon Fighter to do it. You could probably also use your squadron to do these 2 dungeons, but ooh, why would you do that when you could talk to people instead? Okay, number 9, we're still on Animus. When you're trying to get your leves for the Animus books, make sure that you check all of the zones, because every zone will have totally different leves. So like, let's say you're in Mor Dhona, for example, and it doesn't have the leve you need. Go check the other 2 zones in your book, because those other 2 zones might have the leve you need. Because every time you complete a leve, it will refresh the entire list across the entire world, or at least this section of the world, whatever. So make sure that go check all 3 zones that they don't have one of your leves. If one of them does have one of your leves, do that leve, and then, you know, check the other 2 zones. By doing this method, you can skip doing leves that you don't actually want to do, and you can just target the ones that you do want to do, if you get lucky, of course. Number 10, we're still on Animus. When you're farming the fates, try and check back. Like, what I would do is, I would do like maybe 2 or 3, or maybe even 4 of the monster categories, and then I would check each zone to see if the fates are up. Just check back like every 5 to 10 minutes to see if your fates are up. The fates are really the worst part about the book, because you can't really control them, and even trying to farm a zone to like clear out fates in a zone to make the fate that you want to spawn is a pain in the ass. It's really soul crushing. So it's better to just work on the other stuff. And then, like I said, every 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, go check the zones to see if the fates are up. So that way you're at least making progress in this other parts of the book, and you're not relying on RNG with the fates. Number 11, I swear to God, this is the last part that we're going to talk about with Animus. You could also train at your chocobo while you do the Animus books, because it's really nice. You're killing lots of monsters, you're doing the fates, and then you're doing the leves. So make sure you rack out your chocobo. It's really nice. You can level up your chocobo. Number 12, once you get actually to the NOVUS step, which is the one after Animus, when you're doing this whole quest line with Hubairtan to make the sphere scroll, make sure once you actually complete the quest from him that you actually obtain a sphere scroll from him, because when you just complete his quest line, he doesn't actually give you the sphere scroll you need. You have to actually go through these dialogue things and then buy the sphere scroll that you need from him, which costs the 3 bottles of ink. So make sure you do that, because when I did this, I straight up completed the quest and I just teleported away, and then I was like, where's my scroll? Motherfucker didn't give it to me. You gotta fucking buy it from him. Okay, number 13. This is the second part of the NOVUS. When you actually turn in the quest over here at Jalzahn, there's gonna be the cat dude, or I think he's a human, I forget, Ealdwine or something. He's gonna be sitting right here next to this little shed thing. Make sure you actually get the quest from him when you turn the quest back in at Jalzahn, because you need him. You need to do this little tiny quest to unlock these mysterious maps. So make sure that you actually talk to him, because again, when I did this, I skipped talking to him because I just thought he was some random dude and I teleported away. And then I found out, oh, you gotta do that quest line with that guy to unlock the mysterious maps. So please don't make my mistake. When you see him sitting here next to the shed, talk to him and complete that quest line. Okay, number 14, we're still on Novus. When you get to the part where you have to do the mysterious maps and you just did that quest line we were just talking about, you gotta come over here to Auriana and Mor Dhona, and then right here, mysterious map exchange. It costs 75 Allergen tomestones per map. You can actually get 2 maps at a time. Usually you can only have 1. You basically just buy the map and then you just right click it to decipher it. Your character will decipher the map. That'll add it to your screen right here. And then you can actually just go ahead and buy another map from her. So it's really nice. So you can basically have the map that you deciphered and you have another one in your inventory. So at least you can have 2 on you at a time. You can't get any more than that until you complete these 2, and then you can come back and do it. You're going to need 75 Alexandrite, and you get 5 per map. So you need to do it a total of 15 times. It's not too bad. It takes like maybe 20-30 minutes. It's pretty quick to get all the Alexandrite you need doing this method. You are going to need like 1100 Allergen tomestones in order to buy all the maps. So keep that in mind. You should have some Allergen tomestones saved up before you do this map part. And in case you're having trouble finding out where these locations are in the map, I'll also post a website that shows where all these locations are for the mysterious maps. Okay, and then number 15, we're still on Novus. Make sure when you're buying the materias, check the price. You can go all the way up to level 4 for the materias when you're doing the enchantment part on the sphere scrolls. Make sure you check the price of every single one, because sometimes the tier 1s are usually kind of expensive, the tier 2s are cheap. Sometimes the tier 3s are really fucking expensive depending on which one you buy. So you could just probably get like a shitty off-stat one, like the piety ones or whatever. But make sure you check the price of each one, 1, 2, 3, 4, because like I said, sometimes they might be cheap in the beginning or the end, but the 1 and the 3rd one might be super fucking expensive. So make sure you get the cheap ones and check the price of each level of the materia that you need. Okay, number 16, we're on the NEXUS step, which is the 3rd to last step. You gotta basically farm a bunch of dungeons for light. And the thing is that you may not know, and I didn't know this in the beginning, there's dungeons that can give you bonus light, which will basically give you double the light that you need. And you will basically complete this light step like twice as fast, because normally you'll need to do like 40 dungeons or some shit like that. And if you try and do them with the bonus light, or if you actually find a dungeon with the bonus light, you'll be able to do them twice as fast. You only have to do like 20 dungeons, which still sounds like a fucking lot, and it is a lot, but at least it goes a little bit faster. The dungeons you want to be looking at for farming is Sastasha, Tamtara, Deepcroft, Stone Vigil, and then Aurum Vale. These have really fast clear times. You should be able to solo them if you're 71 or higher. Another one you could also do that I found out was 1000 Maws of Toto-Rak. They made this dungeon way easier now that they've streamlined it into just a giant line. You can finish the dungeon in like 3 minutes, 11 seconds. At least that's how long it took me. So that's another one you could check for. So basically just go one by one, checking each dungeon. Like start at Sastasha, work your way down with those 5 dungeons I said. And if one of them gives you bonus light, then just do that dungeon and spam it over and over. You'll have it for like 2 hours or something like that. You can get the bonus light from. And if none of them give you bonus light, just go with the one that's the fastest. For most people, that's usually Aurum Vale or Stone Vigil. I was switching it up towards the end, and I would just switch to like almost any of these because I was starting to go fucking insane doing Aurum Vale and Stone Vigil. So if you need to switch up the scenery, hey man, don't feel bad. Just switch up to another dungeon. You're going to be stuck farming light for a while. And then number 17, we're skipping over the Zodiac step because again, that's just more buying shit. We already talked about it at the beginning where you had to buy the bombard cores. This is why you saved up your 1,000,000 gil so that you could buy all this stuff for the Zodiac step. And then you got to go farm a bunch of dungeons, which I mean, you should already pretty much know how to do that by now. And then we're lastly talking about the Zeta step. Again, it's the same thing like farming the light. You pretty much just got to go to these same dungeons like you did for the Nexus step, and you got to farm light again for the Mahatmas. But it's a lot easier because you only have to do like 24 dungeons instead of 40 this time. Or if you get the bonus light, which again, this step has bonus light just like the Nexus step, you only have to do 12 dungeons instead. But it's a little harder to find out the bonus light because you're always getting like half completion every time you do it. So whatever, it's more of the same shit. You can pretty much just go camp it out over here in Swift Perch next to the guy Remen so that you can get the new Mahatmas every time. And just make sure that you actually have enough Allergen tomestones. It's like 50 tomestones per Mahatma every time you switch. So make sure you just got like the 600 that you need ahead of time. So now you don't got to be running back and forth. And you can just camp here next to Remen and you can just finish it super fast. That's pretty much it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you out to avoid some of the pitfalls of the ARR relics and that you don't waste time like I did on some of the stupid parts. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.